for that inch.
Rarely do I see any American Italians eating in here.
But I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Villkoret är att jag får leva.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Welcome to Real Genius. I am Chris Vognar, culture critic of the Dallas Morning News.
And I'm Immortan Bob, the digital managing editor of the Dallas Morning News.
Are you still jacked up from Mad Max, Fury Road?
Jesus, you sound
From last
jacked
night?
up.
I'm totally jacked up.
Good Lord.
That was a hyper-adrenalized action extravaganza. That was actually just about as good as everybody had led me to believe.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of those films that I went into having already some pretty good idea of how great it was, because every fifth tweet in my tweet deck was about how...
Because there are no secrets anymore.
Yeah, Fury Road is the greatest movie you've ever seen. All other summer blockbusters will be put to shame. You need to see one movie all year, run, do not walk to see, blah, blah, blah. And I agree.
If you don't know what we're talking about, I'm pretty sure most people do if you're watching this.
Even my dad knows what we're talking about.
This is the fourth Mad Max. Wow, I just realized when I wrote my review I completely omitted Thunderdome, like it didn't happen.
Wait, I'm sorry, you refer to this as the third Mad Max in your review?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I did that, but well, maybe I better go check. Because I just...
Oh, it's funny. So we'll talk about...
Thunderdome?
We got to talk about Thunderdome in a second, because I went back and watched it after I saw Fury Road. So I guess we should look at
You
a
watched
little
it
bit
last night after Fury Road?
I did.
What is wrong with you?
Well, I wanted to. I had this theory that I wanted to prove to myself, and I was completely correct.
All right. Should we watch a scene first?
I don't even know if I can watch a scene without wanting to watch the whole thing again and again.
Well, we're going to watch a scene from Mad Max Fury Road, which is very representative of
any scene you pick from the movie is very representative. The trailer is just literally a shrunk down version of it. Let's do it. I just want to keep watching it over and over and over.
You want to watch it again?
Yeah, can we watch it again?
Let's not do that.
Well, I don't want. Problem is, I don't want to watch it in 2D.
So so you make your Thunderdome point, and then I'll make a Road Warrior point.
No, well, it's all four of them. In as much as that, I've spent the last week watching all four of them now. Went back and watched Mad Max, when Mad Max 2, Road Warrior, and then Thunderdome. Thunderdome is. I forgot how awful Thunderdome is. Oh my God! It's Bartertown is literally run by pig dung.
I remember even when I was 16 or 17 and I saw it, I was like, man, this kind of sucks.
But it's funny, I kept thinking, I know George Miller, who wrote and directed all four of them, although he co-directed Thunderdome. It's interesting, I know he's been wanting to make this version for decades. Couldn't find the funding, couldn't find a lot of things that made it necessary. But I always felt like he needed to make an apologia for Thunderdome.
Right.
Thunderdome desecrates.
Well, I completely forgot about it.
I mean, it desecrates those first two movies.
It's dead to me.
I mean, it's weird. Mad Max, I was struck the other day by watching it how sort of conventional and kind of boring it is.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty dry, straightforward, no frills. It's got some of that Australian new wave flavor to it, but it's no Road Warrior.
No, it's just Death Wish. I mean, it's a guy whose family is murdered and who just basically seeks revenge. Road Warrior obviously changed the face of cinematic landscape, literally, quite literally, because of the way post-apocalyptic worlds, everything after Road Warrior looked like Road Warrior. But it's extraordinary when you think about the fact that this film, while it certainly looks and feels, I mean, there are some scenes, some chases out of Mad Max Fury Road that are right out of Road Warrior. I mean, they literally look like they are pasted on top of each other.
Except they're taken up that
extra
level
by a billion.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I don't think you should see this in 2D. And I hate saying that because I'm a big 3D not advocate, but because this is not CG, because so much of this was done in camera, it feels it. I mean, it is the most visceral movie-going experience I can remember in a decade.
So the thing it really has in common with Road Warrior is the sense that every single action is crucial. This is an action movie in the purest sense. The dialogue is almost irrelevant to it tells a decent story.
What little dialogue there is.
Sort of a futuristic feminist sci-fi story, which I found pretty compelling for what it was.
We should say that Charlize Theron's Furiosa is the real star of the film.
Yeah, she's the muscle of the film.
She's the star, she's the muscle. In some weird way, it's about Charlize Theron's character and Nicholas Hoult, who is the war boy, one of the kids who's basically a servant to Immortan Joe, the bad guy.
And the movie certainly has some CGI, but what everybody's talking about, and rightfully so, the stunt work in this movie is just off the charts, and it's both its execution and its conception. You're just looking at things on screen going, okay, this is actually happening, like you said. This is in the camera. I mean, we're just kind of eyes popping out going, how exactly are they pulling this stuff off? And then there's some action scenes that could be out of Stagecoach, except I kept thinking about Yakima Canutt, John Wayne's stunt coordinator and stunt double, who made so many of those John Ford movies great, or helped make them great. Except in this case, they're not jumping from horses onto stagecoaches, they're jumping from fiery rigs onto swinging poles, onto crazy, fire-breathing cars, and it's pretty outlandish, and it's the fastest 2 hours that I have had at the movies in a while.
I hated it when it ended. I mean, I just was so devastated that it was over. And look, you know where it's going. It is literally a movie that goes from point A to point B to point A. It's not surprising in the sense of, gosh, I wonder what's going to happen and how these characters are going to turn out. That doesn't happen. I mean, if you've read anything about it, you know the fact that John Hughes, George Miller talked a great deal about the fact that it's not CG, but the fact that it was so difficult to make that Tom Hardy, now Max, and Charlize Theron had no interest in coming back to doing another one, even though George Miller would like to, because it was just so damn difficult for them to make. And if it was as difficult for them to make as it was for me to watch, just because it was the most exhausting and exhilarating 2 hours I've had in a movie theater in a very long time, I can't imagine trying to go through this again. I walked out of the theater with my dad, who never likes to go to movies with me.
But he loves cars.
Loves cars. I mean, he kept leaning over. Your grandfather had that same.
I figured out. I was like, why is Robert's dad here? I was like, and then like 15 minutes I leaned over. I was like, I just realized why your dad's here.
Well, Dad goes at one point, your grandfather had that same 1938 Dodge truck. That was my first car. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So, but we walked out, and Dad had no idea that it was not CG. I said, so you realize, Dad, that was all done in camera, with the exception of the big storm sequence. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. And he was as impressed and as dazzled as I have ever seen him since, I think, Steve McQueen jumped over barbed wire in The Great Escape.
It's like a lowrider sci-fi convention, if there is such a thing.
I could see this movie every day for a year and not be bored by it.
So we really liked Mad Max.
I don't think we've. It's got 99%. It's got 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Someone was telling me today, which they've never seen something get that high. You're not going to find a critic who doesn't like it, and for once, everybody's right.
I'll douse the tiniest bit of water on it, just because I feel like somebody has to a little bit. When those few occasions when it does slow down,
there's two.
It gets a little squishy, and you start getting a little antsy, and you're like, okay, a little more of what we were just getting.
You need to take a breath every now and then.
You need to take a breath.
I mean, there's a couple scenes, but these scenes are, I think, very important. I like Nick Hoult is the kid who was the kid in About a Boy,
right?
Who plays this weird, creepy dude early on in the film.
He's an ambitious slave. Is how
he's a mechanic.
Yeah.
He's a slave mechanic who uses Max initially as a blood bag, quite literally, which is horrifying.
As a hood ornament.
Yeah, as a hood ornament / blood bag, who's got a cord hooked up to him in which he's literally draining Max's blood to keep himself fueled. I mean, there are some sequences in this film that you go, man, I can't believe I'm watching this. There's a birth of a baby.
There's a cesarean section. There's a high-speed blood transfusion.
But nothing's horribly gory. Not even the death of a character is really gory. I mean, that's kind of the great thing about it. There's never a moment where you want to take your eyes off the screen. That cesarean could have gone way out of control.
Oh yeah, sure.
But I think the Nick Hoult sort of love interest thing. It's funny. You get two couples that sort of couple off. Nick Holt and one of the women that Charlize Theron.
One of the wives.
Yeah,
the breeders.
One of the breeders
of Immortan Joe.
And one of the who become these great warriors. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's sort of wonderful about this film is that what these women who are introduced sort of is this, wow, look how beautiful these women are.
Right, it's like a Russ Meyer movie for a second.
You leaned over like, when did this become a Russ Meyer movie? But this could have gone off the rails. It could have been, sort of this weird soft core thing, and it just turns out that they're the most sort of warriors. I mean, they're all warriors because they've all had to survive. So you get that romance that doesn't really become a romance.
But it's very tender.
It is. Same with Max and Furiosa, Charlize Theron's character. But again, there is no romance there. I mean, to him, the most romantic thing he can do is tell her his name. I mean, and
he's got issues. He's been through a lot.
He is, and
post-apocalypse, been rough on everybody.
Well, look, and he's fantastic. I don't think he's gotten enough credit for the fact that because he doesn't do much.
He grunts,
but he anchors it
a lot.
I know it's weird. When did Tom Hardy just start talking like Bane?
There's like I want somebody to do like a taxonomy of Tom Hardy grunts. From all his movies. Lawless, man, there's some serious Tom Hardy.
Yeah, but when did he start talking like Bane? Yeah. I mean, here he just sounds like Bane without the mask. It's very, right? It's a very surreal thing, but he's great. They're all great. See it in 3D. I've convinced 5 people to go tonight to see it in 3D. 2D, I think, would be not disappointing, but you got to get that extra kick in the pants.
You heard it here, movie critics who like Mad Max
and 3D.
Fury Road. That's right. That's pretty much everybody in the country. It is awesome. Go see it, please, pretty please, and then come back. And
everything else we talk about from now on will be just disappointing in comparison.
It really won't matter.
So join us next week.
This is the last episode we're ever going to do. Not really. We'll see you next week.